And welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to take a look at another powered screwdriver in our series in the quest to find the best powered screwdriver. Now, I thought I would hit some of the cheaper ones. While I don't have a whole lot of high expectations on some of them, they might be more relatable to some people for some home use. So today's video, we're going to take a look at the Hart powered screwdriver. These are commonly available at places like Walmart. And we'll just see how this does. It might be okay. And the goal of this series is to test these things out in a few different applications. And the bang for the buck and the availability to get it might be a deciding factor for some people to say, hey, yeah, I could really make use of that, and it would suit my needs. It's not necessarily about finding the best, period, or overall, but it might be something that somebody could see and say, hey, that will suit what I need, and I can get them real easy. So if you're keeping track, this is made in Vietnam. Okay, so we just have some instructions and packaging. It actually has some pretty thick instructions, which might actually be really good if you don't commonly use tools. This could be something good to give you a good idea of uses for it. Okay, so we have two tips here, and they're pretty standard tips. It's your 1/4 inch straight and your number 2 Phillips. These tips are uncannily similar to what's coming with the Ryobi. And let's take a look here now at our tool. It does not swivel. This is a straight tool only. You have a very clear forward, neutral, and reverse. It does not have a magnetic tip holder. You can see there's red inside of there. This is a friction fit, much like we saw on the Ryobi. And the friction fit isn't super strong, but it does hold things. This is a little bit more bulky than the Ryobi. And it has a charger cable that is not USB. Now this is a 120 volt plug adapter, and you'll see it is UL listed. That is nice. The cable is very thin, so you want to be careful with this. While it has decent strain relief, these things can really take a beating and get pretty bad, so you'll want to be careful about that. The tool overall isn't super clunky, but it's more clunky than others that we've looked at. I mean, if you want to compare this to something like the Tone, this is quite bulky in comparison, but I also recognize not everybody can get their hands on a Tone. This very well may suit a need for somebody and be very useful. So you have this trigger here, kind of easy to hit anywhere on it. Have a very tactile switch here to change directions. Not overly bad at all. Let's get this thing plugged in and see how it charges. Now to plug it in, we're just going to take our standard extension cord that we have here in the shop. Okay, no signs of life yet. We will plug the tool in. The tool has a red light that lights, and the charger has a red light that lights. Now we'll let this finish charging, and we'll see what we get. Interestingly, this does work while it's charging. Now, after this is done charging, we're going to get a good weight on this thing and see what it weighs in at. We're going to check the RPMs to see how fast it spins, and we're going to check how much torque it puts out when it stalls. Okay, we are back with the Hart I still have, after quite a while, a solid red light on both the tool and the charger. So I'm going to assume it's done charging. It's been quite a while. I'm not sure if this will eventually go out or not, or if it's just saying that it's hooked up. But we're going to go ahead and test this thing and see what it does. So first thing that we're going to do with this thing is we are going to do an RPM test and see how fast this thing turns. And to do that, we are going to use our 7/8 socket on a Titan adapter. This is better than the Ryobi was. I was able to flick the Ryobi, this adapter, right out of the Ryobi. This is the same friction fit adapter that Ryobi had. So that was something that I didn't particularly like. But this one seems to be a little tighter. Might be luck of the draw. I don't know. So let's go ahead and see what RPMs we can get out of this thing. So we're right around 168, 170 forwards. Let's go backwards. So we're still in that 165, 170 range. Not overly surprising. It sounds about the same forward as backwards. Let's move on to check the torque on this thing. And to do that, we are going to use our inch-pounds torque meter. And we're just going to send this thing until it stalls. And we're going to see what torque we had. So to do that, we're going to run it like that. And I'm going to squeeze my hand on this socket. This thing actually did not cut out. It had quite a bit of torque. That's surprising. Yeah, I really can't stall that with my hand. Okay. Reverse. That time I stalled it. So it gets 34, but it does not cut out. So there we go, 35 inch-pounds. See if I can do that forward. So there I was able to stall it, 32. $32, 33. So this thing's got some torque. It's in the 30s, but it definitely isn't happy about it. But we saw we're much slower, so there's gearing in it. But I do believe so far that might actually be the highest torque. These were the other two highest placers in our torque. So let's go ahead and see what the Bosch Go 3 can do. About 26 on that run. 27, it does cut out. So 26 or 27 on the Bosch Go 3. And the works, that was getting 26, 27, 25, pretty reliably in that same range. The works and the Bosch Go 3 are both in the mid-20s, and this Hart is going ahead and getting into the 30s. So that's a surprise. So I like it when things that you think are cheap turn out to be something else. Now this thing is girthy. It's got some size to it. You probably just saw there with the Bosch Go 3 and the works with it. So what's this thing weigh? 411 grams. I think the next heaviest one we had was the Skill, and that was 361-ish. So this thing's got some weight to it. It might be that there's gearing in there, or however they're doing it. So there's going to be some trade-offs. Now, some of this, let's go ahead and measure it. Here's our 6-inch scale. I would say this thing is right around 9 inches long. And our largest size on this thing is around 2 1/8, right here in the middle. At the top, we're about 1 3/4. At the back here, our largest dimension is about 1.5 inches. And everything that's black on here is rubber. Because of the shape of it, I think you could probably hold on to it relatively well. The direction changing is very tactile. It's not bad. It's fairly easy to reach and intuitive. The trigger to actuate it is not bad at all. It's just a little tab there. Something I don't like about it is that they didn't actually make this USB. This is 5 volt, I'm pretty sure. It's probably just an 18650 cell in there. Let's look at the output of our UL listed charger here. And the output is indeed like 6.8 volts. So, I mean, that's nominal charging voltage for your 18650s. So I think that's a negative for this thing, that it has this janky charging system and it has a non-locking collet. I think beyond that, this thing actually does have the most torque of any of them, which I don't know. Is it surprising or not? The others are trying to be much more compact than this, so I think that's where the limitation's coming in on them. This one, they kind of embraced its size. It's kind of akin in size to the older Bowers from Harbor Freight. It's kind of like that size range, which isn't horrible, but it's not necessarily convenient either. I don't think you'll accidentally turn this on. You have some the switch is guarded, and if it's in your tool bag and the handle gets pushed and it's in neutral, it's not going to run. So that is kind of nice. Other than that, kind of an unexpected result there, but I like that. I like getting unexpected results in things that you don't know exactly what to expect when you're going in. If you have this thing, or you have experience with it, let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know. Is it short-lived if you try and run it hard? Does it die? Is it a beast? I'm kind of curious. Whatever things that you've done with it, has the speed been a limiting factor because it is only down in the 160, 170 RPM range? That might restrict some things that you're doing with it. Price point's not overly high on this, so there's that. I'm kind of curious to know. This is very interesting to me how these tools all have their own flair and their way of doing things. It only comes with 2 basic tips. They're not bad, but I mean, it's TTI based, I believe. The Hart stuff is TTI based. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I am. But it's not bad. I mean, if you're just looking to do basic stuff, this will probably do it. you're looking to save on your hands and just have something that's powered, this will probably do some of that stuff, and it may even hold up on the job site if you ask that of it. I don't know. But some of the goal of this series is to see what tools can do what things so you can make the best decision yourself if something works for you. So as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.